Alright guys, what's up? In this one I'm going to go over a Druid deck that I just came up with. It's pretty powerful, works well against pretty much anything but a rush deck. The only important legendary is the Nat Pagal because you want to get as many cards as possible, and I believe it's actually the only card draw. So we're up against a Shaman in this one, and I get a pretty bad starting hand. I obviously want to keep Imp Master because I need to play something, and there's not a lot of low cost minions. I'm hoping to get a Nat Pagal back, and of course I get 2 Savage Roars back, which is about as bad as it could have been. And then I get Nat Pagal, and that's a dream card because in turn 2 I want to play that every single game, get 2 to 3 draws with it. It's pretty overpowered right now. It probably should be a 0-3 drop. I think that would kind of level it out a little more. And he coins into a totem, which I still don't understand why he did that. So I'm going to go ahead and play Nat Pagal, hope I get a draw. Of course RNG is not on my side. And he's going to Earth Shock it, which is depressing, to say the least. So now I've got an O2 minion on the board that can't do anything, and I have no way to even make it a taunt creature. The only use for it right now is at some point to use the Savage Roars. I decide to drop the Golem because it can be the most frustrating to take out, and he can't take it out in one turn with one of his annoying low cost overload spells, which I know he's going to be playing a lot of, so at this point I just think I have to clear this board. I don't want him to have that card. I don't want him to be able to drop his Manatee totem and me not be able to deal with it. So I've got a couple options here. I can throw an early swipe, which I thought was a terrible idea, or I could Savage Roar and get some use out of Pagal. It seems weird, but I keep both my minions on the board and I get a free attack in the face with my Druid, which in the end I was actually pretty happy with. I did a 2 in my hand and they were just kind of taking space, and I'm going to need swipe down the road. At least that's what my thought process was at the time. And he gets really unlucky with a spell power totem. He needed something with a taunt, so I couldn't attack him on the next turn. Pagal is still kind of being useless there, but he's not going to attack it, and I know down the road I'm going to be able to use him with the Savage Roar, so I'm pretty confident at this point that I'm not only going to get the board control, I'm going to be able to throw it all in his face in a turn or two. Because it doesn't matter if he puts anything on the board. I've got Swipe, I've got Innervate. I have pretty much the ideal hand right now for him to not be able to start something. He makes another mistake here. He attacks my 1/4 when my board's almost full. The only reason he would have done that is if he knew I had Savage Roar, which he had no way of knowing. He drops the Wolves, which was kind of expected. Every Shaman drops it early. They always seem to have it. You never can get a game without it. And then I draw Leroy, which is useless for me at this point. I kind of have to use my other Savage Roar. Swipe doesn't do much for me here. And I get one last use out of Pagal, and at this point I can kill him. It's going to seem like I make a mistake, but I'll explain it afterwards. It takes me a second to come to this conclusion. I was debating if I wanted to swipe him in the face and then just attack and lose my Panther and my Golem. Here's where it looks like I made the mistake. I still had 2 mana left over, and to me it didn't matter if I lost Pagal. In fact, I kind of wanted to lose him. I'd already used my Savage Roar and he was just taking a spot, so I intentionally did not use my hero ability before I attacked, which would have actually killed it. I used it after, and then I didn't attack with him again, obviously. It allowed me to get 1 shield, but it also allowed me to kill Pagal, which I think was the right move. And at this point I need to start going to his face. I've got 2 spells in my hand and a Violet Teacher, which is about as strong of a combination as you want. What I really like about the Violet Teacher is that you don't even have to have a spell in your hand. She's a very good creature as it is. A 3/5 is annoying to deal with. It's almost never a good idea to exchange with it, because anything that can do 5 damage, the damage is probably better spent elsewhere. So you usually get to create a lot of summons with it. And in this case I got 2 in 1 turn with the Innervate Swipe combo. I've got lethal with on the board. I've got lethal with Leroy. He is going to have to drop a taunt here. And you're going to see he doesn't drop a taunt. He tries to call a totem. Gets spell power again. I think that's his third spell power totem in one game. That's pretty bad luck. But it wouldn't have mattered. If you can see, I've got Leroy. My hero ability in Leroy would have finished it anyways. Makes a pretty good play here. Because now I don't have lethal on the board. He would still be pretty far behind, but he wouldn't be out of it. He's got a lot of spells to clear my board, and he definitely has the card advantage. Anyways, I drop Leroy, go at him in the face, and that's it. Again, it's a pretty straightforward deck. It plays pretty easily. You don't need early cards, and what I think makes it the most playable is that it doesn't have 5 legendaries in it. It doesn't depend on you having Ragnaros. In fact, you don't even need Leroy Jenkins in it. I think you could run it with an Argent Commander, and you would be just fine. He's just sort of an insurance ending to the game.